So a question came in, how can I prepare for cybersecurity without paying for college? Actually, the question was, do you have any tips or advice for someone trying to get into cybersecurity who doesn't have the money for college right now? And unfortunately, depending on what you want to go into in cybersecurity, it depends on obviously it depends on how much money you need and when you need it, right? So it depends on how much money you need and when you need it. Like, can you eat right now? If you can't eat and you don't, first of all, you're not going to learn enough cybersecurity to make money to support yourself. So if you don't have a job, don't wait. Go, find something to pay the bills, to relieve the pressure. And I mean it. That means, like a service job or whatever, even if it's something in IT. If you know IT is a great segue into cybersecurity, of course. And I need to tell you straight up that I am not professionally employed as a cybersecurity professional. I considered it strongly in 2021. It started down my OSCP path, especially when I started streaming. And I concluded that I did not want to be in cybersecurity because it's 50% report writing and, 30% quality assurance testing that you can basically do most of it with Nmap and running a bunch of scripts. And that the very small percentage of cybersecurity jobs that are out there for really intense forensics work and zero-day discovery and all the stuff that I really like to do, they're much harder to get. They're smaller. There's certainly a demand for it, and the job market, and this is kind of the kicker. The job market for this stuff is usually in defense or working for the state, working for enterprise, particularly the banks. I mean, Bank of America is right down the street, and they have tons and tons of security jobs. I'm not going to lie, I have very seriously thought about getting into a Bank of America cybersecurity job. The leeway that they have, the things that they can do there that the government looks the other way on are super cool and exciting. And I've seriously thought about selling my soul and working for a bank, just to be able to work with really, intriguing technology related to cybersecurity and tracking down the hackers that attack the banks and stuff. I live in Charlotte, so I'm right here next to a bunch of, the financial industry and stuff like that. I mean, in fact, Charlotte is the second highest, next to New York, for financial work, and stuff like that. So, I just realized my music is on. Oh, well. If you work at IT help desk, I think that's a great segue into it. I think the best thing you can do. So the first decision you need to make if you want to go into cybersecurity, and I have helped a lot of people get into it, even though I might not have done it myself. I've caught hackers too. So I know the ropes of the cybersecurity thing, but cybersecurity is mostly about memorizing the different processes and procedures and scripts and software to run to ferret out the problems. It does have a high amount of creativity and experimentation. What if I do this? Thinking and learning like a hacker. But for the most part, it's kind of methodical. It's like run this thing, then run this thing, then run this thing, and see what you find. And if you don't find anything, then repeat and try again. So if that's what you want to do, you can do that right away. Right. So try Hack Me, Hack the Box. Those are the best obvious ways to go do it for free. Over the Wire is another one. They all have try Hack Me, Hack the Box. What's the Carnegie Mellon one? I forget the name of it right now. Over the Wire. I think those are .com. There's another one. It's probably the best one for free, but it's also it's kind of junior. Pico CTF, right? Pico CTF. I think it's .org. So, there's lots of freebies out there. That's probably the best thing. I would, you don't say you don't have any money, but you can learn Linux, right? You can learn Linux and PowerShell on your own, Those are things you can do on your own. You need to be able to do those things, right? You can study all of the stuff. And I mean, and then there's Security Plus certification you can prepare for if you want to buy a book for it. But at some point, you need to make a decision about what jobs you want, and you have to. There's a really important decision. Do you want to work for a government or a bank or an organization? And if so, they require college and certificates, almost all of them. And there are other places you can get a job, but OSCP is really expensive. There are other places that you can just prove yourself just by being awesome and hacking stuff, but those jobs, you gotta produce proof, and employment is about trust, and you have to produce, evidence of trust so that they will hire you. And in the hacking world, it's kind of hard to prove those things. So it's kind of certificate heavy on that for that reason. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're a better hacker because you have more certificates. In fact, some people, there's one agency, I think it's not F Society, it's one of them. There's an agency out there, they actually make fun of people who get certificates because they're like, oh, you got certificates, you think you're good. In fact, the entire culture of cybersecurity really turns me off lately. I used to really like it. I used to think it was kind of cool and everything. And the more I've gotten into it, the more I realize it's just a bunch of people with unnecessary tats pretending that they're really smart, who actually are basically just quality assurance engineers, with a few certificates. And there are people who legitimately earn the title of hacker and genius and all of that stuff. But I have run into so many posers in the cybersecurity field that I have no interest. It's not a culture I want to be associated with. That is really dangerous to say. I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for saying that, or comments. But I don't care. It's like my take on it. The reason I ask you that, and you have to know about whether you want to commit to the culture and stuff, because you can go find a meetup, right? You can go join a hacker meetup. If you want to color your hair purple and go to the hacker meetup and maybe pretend like you're a hacker, you can go there and do your thing. You know what's really funny is if you go to like DEF CON or some of these places, some of the hackers that are the most amazing, and they're documented in Cyber War, the series from Vice, are clean cut, moms and dads and people who you would never notice them as a hacker at all. But they are great, including the guy who, by the way, who hacked not Camrys. He hacked, what was it, the Toyota? Over the internet, he took control of a car and caused its brakes to stop. You can watch the video of this. I'm not kidding. There's video of this on the Cyber War series from Vice. And some of those episodes are on YouTube. You can go see those. And by the way, he had to go public with it before they would even, I think it was Toyota, would even fix it. And they wouldn't do anything about it until they, so, when you're making a decision about whether you want to go into it and what you can do, how do you like pen testing? Pen testing to me is like boring as hell. It's so fucking boring. It's like, oh, and by the way, usually we're attacking things that are Windows or PowerShell or their shitty PHP sites. This is another thing that kind of put a damper on my interest in cybersecurity. I have a thing for bad tech. If it's bad tech, I have a hard time being around it. I mean, I get annoyed by it. It's not like I'm always chasing the trends. I'm not really, but I mean, I like Go, for example. If I was chasing the trends, I wouldn't like Go. And I've found that, based on that, pen testing, basically, I think people who think they want to be a hacker, what they really want is they really want to be presented with puzzles and problems to solve. That's what they're looking for. That's what they think hacking is. They think that they're going to get out, they're going to drink a lot of Red Bull and then they're going to put their hoodie on and they're going to do something and they're going to discover something or get access, got root, like Mr. Robot, which is my favorite series, one of my favorite of all time, because it's not really about hacking, by the way. It's about Vonnegut and a bunch of other. The point being that it's usually well, it depends. There's OPSEC, there's InfoSec, there's many different forensics. There's a lot. Cybersecurity is a huge, huge field, right? So if I will say this, if I were to go into security again, if I were to consider to go into security, it would absolutely be forensics. I think, but see, the jobs in forensics are 100% for the government. I mean, and law enforcement. There's almost, I'm not aware. Maybe somebody needs to tell me. I am not aware of any jobs in security forensics that are not related to, law. And because that's what they do. They go in and they the FBI and everybody, they go in there and they get all this great stuff off the disk drives, and they recreate stuff, and they break into the child porn machines and get the evidence that they need to prove. It's also pretty harsh, by the way. Forensics in general is harsh, right? Because you're like the coroner of cybersecurity. So if you're working for the law, you have to be exposed. I've heard of some cybersecurity people getting really, really burned out. I've heard of moderators like at Facebook too, getting really, really burned out because they were exposed to like the lowest dregs of society all the time. People putting shit up that they're like, oh my God, do I have to look at this? And I know from when I ran the mail servers for a rather large freight company, that's not fun. I had to actually, we kept getting blacklisted. So I had to read through and see I didn't have to see the dick pics, thank God, but I had to like see the bad emails and read them from these people. And it's just not fun. It's not fun. You have to have the stomach for that. So I think what you want to do is you want a challenge. You want to make something work efficiently. You want to solve a problem. You want to be the hero. And I really love that, right? So the reason I like being an SRE and I like working in operations and cloud native and all of that is because when stuff breaks down, you're the hero. And if you know how to code, you're even more so the hero, right? Because you can come, waltzing in, and you can write a script and save the day and get all these $1 million systems back up and running. Or you can implement a monitoring solution that proactively tells you that your whole entire system is going to go down. And you get to go tell the people, hey, your system is about to crash and burn on its face unless you do something about it. And here's the evidence. And that is very, very rewarding in operations. It's like being a firefighter, right? And sure, you're going to have to stay up, overnight on sometimes when they have an emergency and something goes down. But to me, saving the day and rescuing and doing push-ups when, preparing yourself for the emergency when it comes, to me, that is far more fun than doing the recovery of a system that's been hacked. Yeah. So scammers. Yeah. And yeah. So those are all operations things. There is a part of me, however, that just really, really, really wants to shut down the bad people, the bad actors in society. And if that is worth it to you, then I would suggest, getting ready and putting together the list of certifications you're going to have to get, because if you can't pay for college, you can at least still pay for a certification. In fact, sometimes getting a certification like Security Plus, even, I hate college. I mean, whatever their names are. What is the name of them? I forget. I do not like anything about those, multiple guest tests that they give you for Security Plus, and the name of that company that puts it together, I can't remember. CompTIA. I absolutely despise CompTIA, but it doesn't matter because CompTIA has become you have to have Security Plus to work for the U.S. government. So I'm saying, even it doesn't matter what I think, right? It doesn't matter what I think. What is a fact is that if you want to get a job in security, you're going to open more doors if you start to work on Security Plus and some of the other ones that are related to that. OSCP is still one of the big fish in the pond of security certifications. It's really, really high. It's hard to get. It's expensive. Yeah. This is me. If you're on a budget, the security that I think the certification that's going to get you the most bang for your buck is Security Plus, even though I hate it. Because more people require it. It opens up all the doors for the U.S. government. It actually works towards your college degree if you want to get a college degree through Western States University, WGU, Western Governors University. WGU has a cybersecurity program that's pretty good, actually, and it includes like 80 or 90 certificates in the cost of the thing. In fact, I have nothing to do with them. I did help a guy his mom actually brought it to my attention. I was like, is this any good? I was really skeptical at first. Then I went through it. I was like, actually, for the dollar, this is a pretty damn good thing. So I wouldn't rule out WGU. So don't rule out WGU cybersecurity. One of the reasons I keep saying these, I'm actually, if I were going to go into cybersecurity, I would definitely go get a master's from them. Your coworker goes, they're through CompSci, for CompSci. Yeah. The thing that makes them really nice is it's one of the few opportunities to save money by paying per semester. That means you pay per semester. You can take as much as you want during that semester, right? So you can actually come away. They make their money by the people that prolong it. They only do like a half an hour a week, right? And they put it out long. But if you have, you don't have a lot of money and you put that money down. But the number one reason that WGU seems interesting to me, it's hands down in the United States, it's hands down the most frugal way to go to college. They are accredited. They have the same accreditation that Stanford University has. This is not a slouch degree by any means. And most importantly, that they are heavily, heavily focused on certifications because they realize that they're working with working class people. And I would definitely do cybersecurity if you're going to go to WGU. I would not go there for a computer science degree. And by the way, if you want the full unedited video of a guy who went through all of the CompSci program, he was a mechanic. There's a YouTube video about that. That their CompSci is, not nearly as good as CyberSec. The bang for the buck on the CyberSec is a lot better than the CompSci, because the CyberSec, it includes 2 tries for I think something like 80 or 90 certificates. That comes with the cost of you pay your tuition, and it includes the cost of these certificates. If you were to just go buy the certificates by themselves, you would pay nearly the same amount if you were going to go do it, but it's included in the cost. So the thing that the cybersecurity, the WG people have done, and this is really wise, is they have partnered with the number one hiring institutions, primarily the U.S. government and the legal entities all throughout the United States, and they have partnered with them to say, what do you want? And they pretty much handcraft people to go into those jobs. Now, there's a lot of other security professionals out there that would just laugh at that. They think, oh my God, you're going to be one of those straight-laced, it's WGU. Yeah, if you search for WGU, Western Governors University. Yeah, and so, but I mean, when I was looking at it, my decision was to not do that, was to pay the extra money and to get an OSCP. So an OSCP is really, really good. That by itself can get you a security job a lot of places. You still need to get your Security Plus certificate if you're going to work for the government, though. So that's where the question comes from, is where do you want to go? Right? What kind of culture do you want to be working with? Do you want to work with a bunch of ex-military who are now working in cybersecurity? And by the way, if you're young enough, you can join the military. Depending on the country you're in, you can join the military. I have it on direct authority from somebody from our Twitch stream who is in the government, that the United States government now has a a direct cybersecurity division that you can request. Now, you don't automatically get it, but you can request it when you go in, when you enlist. So you could apparently, and I don't know, you should look into this for yourself. Don't take my word for it. But apparently, you can enlist in the apparently you can enlist in the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines. Or not the Marines, but you can enlist and you can ask for a cybersecurity specialty. Now, they put you through a test. I happen to know because my stepson just went through it, and they eliminate a bunch of possibilities. So when you take that test, they may decide that, nope, you're not cyber material, and I can't promise you're going to make it. But I do know most of the security people that I personally know are ex-military. They went to the military and they got tons of great cybersecurity and tech training. In fact, not just cybersecurity, a lot of operations people. Tanis is military, previous minute military. I think that's the one. Yeah, I don't know. And so, but I mean, yes, you sell your soul. Yes, you can end up dead on the field of battle. I mean, those are all very real possibilities. But the fact of the matter is there is just no cheaper way to get a kick-ass cybersecurity training than the government. And if you happen to live in Israel, it's the premier military training in cybersecurity. It's world renowned if you live in Israel. That's actually Israel is that's where Stuxnet was invented, and that they have probably the best cybersecurity industry center in the entire world, and a school, yeah. And get it right out of boot camp. And if you come out of Israel, if you come out of the United States and you have cybersecurity backing, you go to work for like triple the money of military, because you go work for a cybersecurity firm or a bank or something like that. You go back to private industry. It's a really, really great path if you have the stomach for it, right? You really kind of want to do that. All of the other jobs where you want to be a lead hacker and you don't want any allegiance or affiliation to anybody else, that path is harder. And for that kind of thing, I would suggest you get into pen testing. So the rig that I'm building over here, slowly but surely, I keep finding that there are other interesting things that I want to do that are better for the world than hacking for money. And so I end up putting it off. I end up making training or writing books or inventing a knowledge exchange grid and all that stuff. But one of the things that I would like to do with my $30,000 rig over here is actually point it at the internet and just start, bringing in the money. Because once you can scan for in scope for certain vulnerabilities, you just set back your automation and just, go look at your reports every day and then go submit it to your bug bounty people. And I want to do that as a secondary thing. I don't want to do that as a primary thing. Because it's just, it's pen testing, unless you're really, really, really good and you've been doing it forever and you've got a lot of connections and stuff like that, it's just not going to be consistent money for most people. But if you want to do something that's really fun, that's not boring WGU or hack the box or over the wire or working for a certificate or something like that, pen testing and breaking into something for money and, joining up with, HackerOne, which, I'm over there, but I haven't done anything over there in a long time. Finding your first bug bounty, cashing in on that first $5,000. Anytime you find a bug bounty as a pen tester, that is like massive cred on your resume, as much as having a WGU cybersecurity degree. You get, let's say you get, was it HackerOne? Let's say you get over 5, 6, 7 bug. You actually get some bug bounties. By the time you have like 10 bug bounties under your belt, and those are on your resume and your CV, a lot of the jobs that are related to security, they're probably going to, I'm guessing, I don't know, but I'm guessing they're going to get a lot easier, because people will just look at your resume and go like, this guy is this gal or girl, they're actually breaking in. They're actually doing it, and as opposed to a bunch of certificates and pieces of paper that say you can do it, you have actual evidence that you have done it, and that somebody else has validated. I think it would be more fun to do it that way. You're also not making as many commitments to others, but it's not as sure as the other path with the kind of plodding along kind of thing. So, that's a really long answer to a rather short question. So if you want to have fun and don't want to, go to this, just do it on the side, do some pen testing, get good, watch the videos, spend a lot of time on YouTube, watch the Twitch streamers, and, practice, read what they do, and just kind of work on it on the side. Boot camps are a horrible waste of money. Yeah. It's just a fact. North Carolina actually contacted me in 2017. In 2017, UNC Charlotte contacted me to put on their cybersecurity boot camp. They said, come and help us teach this thing. And I said, absolutely not. And they went ahead and I think they're subcontracting it through Trinity now. And I cannot overstate my disappointment with most boot camps. First of all, they're like $12,000. So, I mean, you could finish an entire master's or entire bachelor's in cybersecurity through WGU for less than that. In fact, the guy that did it on YouTube, it was an exceptional case. He did his for $6,000. He didn't sleep. He slept every other day, he said. But he did his for three to $6,000 or something like that. So, I mean, if you're gonna spend that kind of money, I would get an actual degree with 80 certificates to go with it. I wouldn't just get what one boot camp says you should learn. And I have no faith in boot camps in general. I have been working with boot camps. I actually was asked by Tech Talent South CEO and founder to run their curriculum, and she's fantastic and everything. But I am not a fan of proprietary education at that level with no guarantee for any results whatsoever. I just can't get behind it. They're great people. They mean well, but I just can't get behind it. It's bad enough going to a university, an accredited university, but when you start adding the boot camp stuff into it, now all accreditation is out the window. So there's no guarantee whatsoever. So just be really, really careful. I have met so many people, by so many, at least two, one of whom I had drinks with, and he told me he spent $8,000 on a web boot camp and had nothing to show for it after that. So, Learn with Leon would tell you the same thing, if you're going to do web stuff. But for cybersecurity, I don't know. If you're going to spend $8,000 to $12,000 on a boot camp, this is what I would suggest you do instead. If you have that kind of money, okay, find an actual employed kick-ass cybersecurity person. Find an individual or three. Go to meetups and say, rather than go to a boot camp, I would love to pay you $50 an hour for you to just mentor me as I'm going. I'm not asking you to tell me what to do. I'm asking you to mentor me in my path to becoming a cybersecurity professional. And they are out there. They're out there. There's people that are out there that'll do that. If you go to DEF CON or you go find somebody locally that you know is good, who's got a job already doing it, you say, look, I'm not asking you to give me a job. I'm not asking you to waste too much time. I just want you to help guide me. And you give him 1/2 of the money you would have spent to a boot camp. It'll be so much better because you will get individual instruction. You'll be in control of your own destiny of what it is next you need to learn. And you'll have somebody to have one-on-one attention with. So I think you should, I think to put in notes. Yes. If you have money, find a good mentor and offer to pay them 50 to 70 per hour to guide your learning, not teach you. It's important that you understand that, right? They're there to help you, know, what's up and stuff like that. So that those are the best suggestions I can give you. I think I'm a big believer in traditional guru and apprentice based learning, master apprentice kind of thing. That's how we did it before, especially in the skilled trades. And if there's one thing cybersecurity hacking is, it's a skilled trade. It's not the kind of thing that you can just codify in a book. I mean, some of it you can, but a lot of it is knowing it's an art form, and you need somebody to help you know how to throw a roundhouse kick, right? And to be there with you and help modify your form and stuff. A lot of it you can learn on your own, but sometimes just having that mentor there that you can go to is yeah, we do skill trades. Apprenticeships are awesome. And a lot of people, it's really sad. There's apprenticeships in metallurgy and electronics and things like that are going completely unfilled. They're paid. They'll pay you $17 an hour to teach you, and then they'll pay us $70 an hour to do the job. Nobody wants them because they don't know about them and because they don't like the trades. There's some sort of, it's totally stupid. Anyway, so these are all some things you can go try. And hopefully that'll get you going. Again, I am not the person to mentor you in this. I can tell you this though. There are a number of things that all of these things have to know. You have to know everything about all operating systems. Okay, Linux, Mac, and Windows. That means you're done being an operating system bigot. You might be able to prefer using Linux for stuff, but you need to stop being a bigot and enjoy, learn about all operating systems. That's what I'm saying. Because you got to know how to break into them, right? You need to learn how to use the command line. You need to use that instantly and all the time. You need to know how to write scripts, which means Bash, Perl, Python, Ruby. You should probably, if you're going to do coding, you should probably learn C as well. There's so many famous YouTube pen testers who brag about never learning how to script. I think that's foolish. I think that being a good programmer means you know how to do automations and things like that. And so anything related to automations, you might end up with a junior system administrator job or SRE job just from the stuff that you learn to prepare to just be able to do the evaluation and the discovery and all that stuff that goes with cybersecurity. So that's the best I can do for you. I will say I will plug myself a little bit here. I have been doing a thing called the Boost every year. And so you can go watch that. It does take you up on the terminal skills that you need. PowerShell, make sure you learn Bash too and some Linux. I'm really trying hard to get a book finished for next year called Terminal Velocity, Mastering the Fastest Human Computer Interface. And I will be doing some other things, but they're not directly related to cybersecurity. They are like the core skills that you need to get those things. They're the unspoken, untaught skills that MIT calls the lost semester or the extra semester, which I think should have been the first semester. Building a Linux rig, learning how the computers work, getting your A+ during the process. While you're building your Linux rig, by the way, you might get the A+ book and thumb through it. Because the A+, a lot of the stuff you're going to be doing to build your own rig is covered in the A+ book. You might end up getting an A+ certification on top of that. And that's a real great, if you're desktop, you probably already have it. So that's just a bunch of loosey-goosey advice. I really don't have anything else to say there. But hopefully that'll get you started. Find somebody who really knows them. That's really good. By the way, the more you're likely you are to hear about them on YouTube, the less likely they are to have something interesting to say. So I'm asking you to find the people in your immediate circle of trust who are not on YouTube. They're not on Twitch. They are people who are making a living doing cybersecurity and spending time with their families or whatever, and they don't have time. Those are the people you want to find because those are the people actually doing the work. They're not blah, blah, blahing on YouTube about it. They are actually doing the work and they're far more valuable of a find. So stop look. You can look on YouTube, but don't forget to look for actual people who don't stream and don't do YouTube. Find those people. They are the gems. They're the ones that you can approach directly, especially if they're in your family. You can say, hey, Uncle, I'd love to pay $50 to teach me whatever. So don't rule them out.